Dr. Lisa Harper brushed the dust from the strange crystal she had found deep in the alien ruins. The crystal was smooth and cold, about the size of her fist, and it glowed with a soft blue light. She had been digging on New Haven for 3 months now, and this was the most interesting thing she had discovered. "Hey Lisa, what did you find this time?" asked her assistant Pete Johnson as he climbed down into the dig site. "I'm not sure yet," Lisa said, turning the crystal over in her hands. "But it feels important. Look at these markings." The crystal had strange symbols carved into its surface. They looked like no language Lisa had ever seen before. She had studied alien writing for 15 years, but these symbols were completely new to her. Back at the research camp, Lisa placed the crystal on her desk and began taking pictures. As soon as the camera flash hit the crystal, something amazing happened. The crystal began to glow brighter, and suddenly a figure appeared in the air above it. The figure was tall and thin, with 4 arms and large black eyes. It spoke in a voice that sounded like wind through leaves. "If you are seeing this message, then you have found our warning," the alien figure said. "We are the Zephyrians, and we are gone now. But we left this message for whoever might come after us." Lisa's heart pounded as she listened. This was the first time anyone had found a working Zephyrian recording. The Zephyrians had disappeared thousands of years ago, leaving only empty cities and broken machines. "We must warn you about the Vortex," the alien continued. "They are coming, they always come. Every 3,000 years they wake up and attack. They think that during the long peace other races become weak and lazy. They are wrong about us, but they might be right about you." The recording showed images of massive alien ships with curved hulls and glowing red weapons. Lisa had seen pictures of these ships before in old military files. They were Vorthak vessels, the same ones that had appeared at the edge of human space 3,000 years ago. "The Vorthaks made a deal with us," the Zephyrian said. "They promised to leave us alone. For 3,000 years, we agreed because we needed time to prepare. But when they came back, we were ready for them. We had built weapons they could not imagine. We had prepared for war while they slept." Lisa watched in amazement as the recording showed the Zephyrians fighting the Vorthaks. The Zephyrian ships were small but fast. They moved like fish through water, avoiding the big Vorthak weapons and striking back with beams of pure energy. "We won that battle," the alien said. "But the cost was too high. Our worlds were damaged. Our people were tired. We decided to leave this galaxy and find a new home. But we left this warning for those who would come after us." The recording began to fade, but the Zephyrians' final words were clear. "The Vorthaks will return. They always return. Use the time wisely. Prepare for war, even in times of peace." The crystal went dark, and Lisa sat in silence for a long moment. Then she grabbed her phone and called Admiral Jake Morrison at Fleet Command. "Admiral Morrison's office," said a voice on the other end. "This is Dr. Lisa Harper on New Haven. I need to speak to the Admiral right away. It's about the Vorthaks." There was a pause. "Hold on, Doctor, I'll put you through." A few seconds later, Admiral Morrison's deep voice came through the speaker. "Dr. Harper, what can I do for you?" "Admiral, I found something. A Zephyrian recording. They left a warning about the Vorthaks. Sir, I think they're coming back." "Admiral." Morrison was quiet for a moment. "Doctor, are you sure about this?" "Yes, sir. The recording was very clear. The Vorthaks attack every 3,000 years. They made a truce with us 3,000 years ago. That truce is about to end." "I'll send a ship to pick you up," the Admiral said. "Bring that crystal." "With you. We need to see this recording." While Lisa waited for her ride, she called her friend Captain Amy Rodriguez, who commanded a patrol ship near the edge of human space. "Amy, it's Lisa. I need you to keep your eyes open out there. I think we might have visitors soon." "What kind of visitors?" Amy asked. "The kind that want to kill us all." 2 days later, Lisa was on Earth, standing in a room full of generals and admirals. The crystal sat on a table in the center of the room, and everyone watched as the Zephyrian recording played again. When it was over, General Nick Stone leaned back in his chair. "So let me get this straight. These Vorthaks think we've been sitting around doing nothing for 3,000 years?" "That's what the recording suggests," Lisa said. They believe that during peacetime, civilizations become weak and easy to conquer. Admiral Morrison smiled. Well, they're in for a surprise. At that moment, an aide rushed into the room. Sir, we're getting reports from the outer colonies. Long-range sensors have detected a large fleet moving toward human space. Admiral Morrison stood up. How large? Over 1,000 ships, sir. They matched the descriptions from the old Vorthak files. The room fell silent. After 3,000 years, the Vorthaks were coming back. Captain Amy Rodriguez was drinking coffee on the bridge of her ship when her communications officer spoke up. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's on all frequencies. Put it through, Amy said. A harsh, growling voice filled the bridge. Humans of the weak and pathetic species, we are the Vorthaks. Your time of peace is over. We gave you 3,000 years to prepare for your deaths. We hope you use that time to say goodbye to your families. Amy almost spilled her coffee. She looked at her crew, and they all had the same expression on their faces. They weren't scared. They weren't worried. They were trying not to laugh. Sir, said her weapons officer, should we respond? Amy thought about all the things humanity had built during the long peace. The hidden weapons, the secret bases, the technologies that made the old Vorthak ships look like toys. Not yet, she said, smiling. Let's see what else they have to say. This is going to be fun. War Commander Thexnell stood on the bridge of his massive warship and looked at the small blue planet ahead. Earth looked so peaceful and quiet. The humans had no idea what was coming for them. Begin the broadcast. Thexnell ordered his communications officer. All across Earth and every human colony, screens flickered to life. The image showed a creature that looked like a giant lizard standing upright. His skin was dark green and covered with scales. His eyes glowed red, and when he spoke, his voice was like gravel grinding together. Humans, Thexnell said. I am War Commander Thexnell of the Vorthak Empire. 3,000 years ago, we made a deal with your kind. We agreed to leave you alone, so you could grow and become strong. That time is over. President Helen Baker sat in the White House Situation Room, watching the broadcast with her advisors. She did not look scared. She looked tired, like someone who had been waiting for this day for a very long time. We have been watching you during these years of peace, the alien continued. We have seen your movies and your music. We have heard your stories and your games. You have become soft and weak. You care more about entertainment than survival. In his deep space monitoring station, Lieutenant Dan Morris almost choked on his coffee. Entertainment, he whispered to his partner. If only they knew what our entertainment really is. Thexnell's broadcast continued. You build ships for exploration, not war. You make art instead of weapons. You play games instead of training for battle. This is why you will fall easily to our might. General Nick Stone, sitting next to President Baker, shook his head slowly. They really don't understand us at all, do they? Your technology is 3,000 years behind ours, Thexnell declared. Your weapons are toys. Your defenses are jokes. We give you one chance to surrender now and save yourselves pain. Refuse, and we will take your worlds by force. The broadcast ended, and the Situation Room was quiet for a moment. Then President Baker turned to her military leaders. Well, gentlemen and ladies, it looks like the day we've been preparing for has finally arrived. General Stone, what's our status? General Stone opened a thick folder. All defensive systems are online and ready. Admiral Karen Bell has the fleet in position. The civilian evacuation protocols are active, though I don't think we'll need them. Admiral, Bell nodded. Our ships are ready, Madam President. The crews have been training for this their whole lives. Meanwhile, on New Haven, Dr. Lisa Harper worked with her expanded team to decode more Zephyrian messages. Professor Dan Clark, an expert in alien languages, studied the symbols, while engineer Maria Santos worked on improving the crystal reader. I've found something interesting, Professor Clark said. The Zephyrians mention that the Vorthaks always make the same mistake. They think peace makes people weak. But peace made the Zephyrians stronger, Maria added. They used the time to build, Better weapons and defenses, Dr. Harper smiled. Just like we did. Back on Earth, Commander Ryan Foster of the Colonial Defense Force was meeting with civilian leaders. Director Sue Williams of the Planetary Shield Network was there, along with other department heads. "Sue, are the entertainment networks ready?" Commander Foster asked. Director Williams grinned. "Oh yes. Our entertainment satellites are fully operational. The aliens have no idea that every game server, every movie streaming platform, and every social media network can become a weapons control system." "What about the theme parks?" Foster asked. "Ready to go," Sue replied. "Disney World's new roller coaster isn't really a roller coaster. It's a kinetic bombardment system. And those holographic shows? They're actually targeting computers." On the edge of the solar system, Captain Amy Rodriguez received new orders from Fleet Command. Her ship, along with dozens of others, was to take position around the Vorthak fleet and observe. "Captain," her tactical officer Lisa Chang reported, "the Vorthak ships are exactly like the ones in our historical files. Same design, same weapons, same everything." "They haven't changed anything in 3,000 years?" Amy asked. "Nothing at all, Captain. It's like they went to sleep and just woke up." Chief Petty Officer Bob Turner looked up from his console. "Captain, our computer analysis shows their ships are actually weaker than they were 3,000 years ago. Metal fatigue, power system decay, weapon deterioration." Amy shook her head in amazement. "They've been sitting still for 3,000 years while we've been getting better every single day." Back on Earth, President Baker called an emergency meeting of the United Colonial Council. Representatives from every human world appeared on the main screen. "Ladies and gentlemen," President Baker began, "the Vorthaks have returned. They believe we are weak because we have enjoyed peace. They are about to learn how wrong they are." The representative from Mars Colony spoke first. "Our mining equipment is ready for conversion to military use. Those asteroid mining lasers work very well as ship weapons. The agricultural worlds, report ready," said another representative. "Our crop management systems can coordinate planetary defenses perfectly. The research stations are standing by," added a third. "Our particle accelerators make excellent weapons when we need them, too." Chief Engineer Kate Phillips, watching from her command center deep under Earth's surface, smiled as she listened to the reports. For 3,000 years, humanity had been building. Every invention, every discovery, every piece of technology had been designed with one question in mind: how can this help us survive? The Vorthaks thought human entertainment was a sign of weakness. They did not understand that human video games were actually military training programs. They did not know that human movies were really strategic planning exercises. They had no idea that human sports were combat simulations. Dr. Alex Rivera, working in his laboratory on Luna Base, put the finishing touches on his latest project. The quantum displacement cannon looked like a simple research device, but it could punch holes through space itself. 3,000 years of theoretical physics research, he said to his assistant. The Vorthaks think math is useless. They're about to find out how wrong they are. As night fell on Earth, families across the planet went about their normal routines. Children played video games that were actually training them to pilot war machines. Adults watched movies that taught them battle tactics. Scientists worked on projects that could become weapons in minutes. The Vorthaks had made their biggest mistake. They thought peace had made humanity weak. But peace had given humanity something much more valuable than weapons. It had given them time to think, time to plan, and time to prepare. Tomorrow the real war would begin, and the Vorthaks would discover that they had picked a fight with the wrong species. The first Vorthak scout ships entered the outer edge of human space just after dawn. War Commander Thexanol expected to find empty space with maybe a few small patrol boats. Instead, his scouts ran into something they had never seen before. War Commander, his tactical officer reported, "We are detecting thousands of objects in space. They appear to be communication satellites." Thexanol laughed. "Communication satellites? How pathetic. These humans cannot even build proper defenses. Destroy them." The Vorthak ships fired their plasma cannons at the nearest satellites. But as soon as the weapons hit, something unexpected happened. The satellites did not explode. Instead, They opened up like metal flowers and began shooting back. "Sir," the tactical officer said, his voice shaking, "the satellites are firing at us. They have weapons we cannot identify." More satellites activated across the solar system. What had looked like simple communication devices suddenly revealed hidden weapon ports, shield generators, and targeting systems. The Vorthak scouts found themselves surrounded by thousands of armed platforms. Captain Tony Mitchell watched the battle from his ship, the UHS Shadow. His vessel was invisible to Vorthak sensors, thanks to technology that made it look like empty space. "Looks like the first surprise worked," said his tactical officer, Lisa Chang. "That's just the beginning," replied systems specialist Bob Turner. "Wait until they see what our space stations can do." On the edge of the asteroid belt, a massive mining station suddenly stopped digging for minerals. Instead, it turned its huge excavation lasers toward the approaching Vorthak fleet. The mining laser, designed to cut through solid rock, sliced through Vorthak ship armor like it was paper. "What is happening?" Thexnell roared. "These are supposed to be mining stations, not warships." His intelligence officer checked the readings. "Sir, our information was correct. These are mining stations, but they have been modified with military-grade targeting systems and power amplifiers." On Earth, Chief Engineer Kate Phillips sat in her control room deep underground. Around her, hundreds of technicians worked at computers that looked like they belonged in a video game arcade. "Activating Project Aegis," Kate announced. "All stations report ready." Across the planet, millions of devices came online. Internet routers, cell phone towers, cable TV boxes, and gaming consoles all connected to form the largest computer network ever built. In seconds, every electronic device on Earth became part of a single massive defense system. "Aegis is online," Kate reported to President Baker. "We now have complete control over every satellite, space station, and orbital platform in human space." The Vorthaks had spent 3,000 years studying human transmissions. They thought they understood human technology, but they had completely missed the most important thing about humans. They never stopped improving. Dr. Alex Rivera's team on Luna Base had finished their work just in time. The quantum displacement weapons looked like simple research equipment, but they could do things that broke the normal rules of physics. "Fire test shot," Dr. Rivera ordered. A beam of energy shot out from Luna Base toward a Vorthak scout ship. The beam did not travel through space like normal weapons. Instead, it appeared directly inside the enemy ship, bypassing their shields. Completely, the Vorthak ship simply vanished. One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. "Quantum displacement successful," Rivera reported. "The target has been moved to empty space approximately 1 light-year away." Captain Mitchell's stealth ship moved closer to the main Vorthak fleet. His mission was to gather intelligence, but what he found surprised even him. "Lisa, look at these readings," he said to his tactical officer. Lisa Chang studied her screen. "Captain, these ships are identical to the ones from 3,000 years ago. Same weapons, same shields, same everything." "They haven't upgraded anything," added Bob Turner. "Meanwhile, we've been improving our technology every single day for 3,000 years." The Vorthak fleet was learning this lesson the hard way. Their plasma cannons, which had been powerful weapons 3 millennia ago, barely scratched the armor of human defensive platforms. Their shields, once impenetrable, could not stop human quantum weapons or gravitational disruptors. General Nick Stone coordinated the defense from his command center. He worked with resistance leaders like Colonel Jim Hayes and Major Sandra Lee, who had spent their entire careers preparing for this day. "The Vorthaks are using the same battle tactics they used 3,000 years ago," Colonel Hayes reported. "They form a line and charge forward, firing all weapons." "Good," General Stone replied. "We've had 3,000 years to figure out how to beat those tactics." Major Lee smiled as she watched her screen. "Sir, the enemy is falling for every trap we set. They're flying straight into our kill zones." The humans had learned something important during their long peace. Every piece of technology they built served 2 purposes. Entertainment systems could become weapons, research equipment could become defenses. Even children's toys had been designed with future military use in mind. Director Sue Williams watched from her command center as the planetary shield network came online. What the Vorthax thought was Earth's internet was actually the control system for the most powerful defensive grid ever built. Shields at full power, she reported. Every major city, spaceport, and military base is now protected. The Vorthak bombardment began. Massive energy beams struck Earth's atmosphere, but instead of destroying cities, the beams were absorbed and redirected. The same technology that powered human entertainment systems now turned enemy weapons back against their own ships. War Commander Thexnall watched in horror as his weapons struck the human planet, and then somehow fired back at his own fleet. "How is this possible?" he demanded. His science officer studied the readings. "Sir, the humans have turned their entire planet into a weapon. Every satellite, every power station, every communication relay is part of their defense system. But our intelligence said they were weak," Thexnall protested. "They spend their time making art and playing games." "Sir," the science officer said quietly, "I think their art and games were actually military training." In space, Captain Mitchell's team continued gathering intelligence. What they found changed everything. The Vorthax had not improved their technology in 3,000 years because they believed they were already perfect. They thought no other species could possibly match their power. "Bob, are you seeing this?" Captain Mitchell asked. Bob Turner nodded as he read his instruments. "Captain, their ships are actually weaker than they were 3,000 years ago. Metal fatigue, power system decay, outdated computer systems. They've been sleeping while we've been working." Lisa Chang looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm detecting massive fleet movements. More Vorthak ships are arriving, but they're all the same old design." Captain Mitchell smiled. "Then they're just bringing us more targets." Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Harper made another discovery in the Zephyrian records. The ancient aliens had left one final message, and it explained everything. The Vorthax never learn, the recording said. They believe that strength comes from standing still and never changing. But true strength comes from always growing, always learning, always preparing for tomorrow's challenges. President Baker received the report and nodded. "That's exactly what we've been doing for 3,000 years. While they slept, we became stronger." The real battle was about to begin, and the Vorthax had no idea what they were really facing. War Commander Thexnall could not believe what he was seeing. Half of his scout fleet was gone, destroyed by what the humans called communication satellites. His remaining ships were retreating in confusion, their crews reporting impossible things. "This cannot be right," Thexnall growled. "Humans are weak. They make movies and play games. They do not build weapons that can destroy our ships." His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vextar, looked nervous. "Sir, perhaps we should reconsider our approach. The humans seem more prepared than we expected." "No." Thexnall slammed his fist on the control panel. "We are Vorthax. We have conquered. 1,000 worlds, these soft humans will not stop us. Launch the main attack." Thousands of Vorthak warships moved toward Earth and the inner colonies. They flew in perfect formation, just like they had done for 3,000 years. Their plasma cannons charged, their shields activated, and their boarding pods prepared to carry Vorthak warriors to human ships. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, the UHS Retribution. Around him, his crew worked calmly at their stations. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison," he announced on the fleet channel. "The enemy is approaching in standard Vorthak formation 7 Alpha. Execute defensive pattern Zulu 9. Captain Amy Rodriguez, now commanding the battlecruiser UHS Justice, smiled as she received her orders. "You heard the Admiral," she told her crew. "Let's show these lizards what 3,000 years of human engineering can do." The human fleet did not charge forward like the Vorthax expected. Instead, they seemed to disappear. One moment the sensors showed hundreds of human ships, the next moment they showed empty space. "Where did they go?" Thexnall demanded. His tactical officer checked and rechecked his instruments. "Sir, they were there. Now they are not. Our sensors show nothing." The human ships had not disappeared. They had activated cloaking systems that made them invisible to Vorthak sensors. While the aliens searched for an enemy they could not see, human weapons fired from empty space. The first Vorthak ship exploded without warning. then another, then 10 more. The aliens fired their weapons in all directions, but they were shooting at shadows. "This is impossible," Thexnol roared. "No species has technology this advanced." Meanwhile, the Vorthax decided to attack civilian targets. If they could not find the human military, they would force the humans to come to them by threatening innocent people. A squadron of Vorthak bombers flew toward New York City. The city looked defenseless from space. No visible weapons, no military, ships, just buildings full of soft humans. The bombers fired their plasma missiles at the city, but instead of destroying buildings, something incredible happened. The missiles struck an invisible barrier and stopped in midair. Then the barrier began to glow and the missiles were pushed back toward the Vorthak ships. Director Sue Williams watched from her control center as the planetary defense grid worked exactly as designed. "Shield strength at 98%, she reported. Enemy missiles redirected back to source. The Vorthak bombers found themselves under attack by their own weapons. Their missiles, now controlled by human computers, chased them through the sky until they exploded. Captain Tony Mitchell continued his reconnaissance mission behind enemy lines. His invisible ship moved through the Vorthak fleet, gathering intelligence that would help the human commanders. "Lisa, look at this," he said to his tactical officer. Lisa Chang studied her readings. "Captain, their command structure is exactly the same as it was 3,000 years ago. Same communication frequencies, same command codes, same tactical patterns." "They haven't learned anything," added Bob Turner. "They're fighting this war the same way they fought every war for the last 10,000 years. This information went directly to General Nick Stone, who shared it with his field commanders like Colonel Jim Hayes and Major Sandra Lee. "The enemy is completely predictable," Colonel Hayes reported. "Every move they make follows patterns we've been studying for centuries." "It's like fighting against a computer that only knows one program," Major Lee added. "They cannot adapt to anything new." The Vorthax tried their next strategy, boarding attacks. They sent small ships filled with warriors to capture human vessels. The Vorthak warriors were large and strong, with natural armor and razor-sharp claws. But when they tried to board the UHS Justice, Captain Rodriguez had a surprise waiting for them. "Activate internal defenses," she ordered. The corridors of the Justice filled with a strange mist. The Vorthak warriors charged through it, ready for battle. But instead of finding human soldiers, they found themselves getting sleepy. The mist contained a gas that made them fall asleep within seconds. "Boarding parties neutralized," Rodriguez reported. "No casualties on our side." Other human ships had different surprises. Some filled their corridors with foam that trapped the invaders. Others used gravity manipulators to make the Vorthak warriors too heavy to move. One ship simply teleported the boarding parties into empty space. Frank Miller, commanding the orbital defense platforms around Mars, coordinated with ground-based installations run by Colonel Nancy Green. Together they controlled a network of weapons that the Vorthax had completely missed. "Nancy, are you seeing the asteroid field?" Frank asked. "I see it, Frank. Looks like a normal asteroid field to them, doesn't it?" The Vorthax flew through what they thought was a field of space rocks. They did not realize that every asteroid was actually a camouflaged weapon platform. When the human commanders gave the signal, the entire asteroid field opened fire. Thousands of laser beams shot out from rocks that had been floating in space for decades. The Vorthak ships found themselves trapped in a maze of crossfire, with weapons attacking from every direction. War Commander Thexnol watched his fleet take heavy losses and tried to understand what was happening. "How do they have so many weapons? Our intelligence said they were peaceful." Dr. Lisa Harper, still working with the Zephyrian records, found the answer. Professor Dan Clark and engineer Maria Santos helped her decode the final message. "The humans are like us," the ancient Zephyrian recording explained. "They understand that peace is not the absence of war. Peace is the time you use to prepare for war." The recording showed images of Zephyrian society during their long peace. What looked like art galleries were actually weapons research centers. What appeared to be sports stadiums were combat training facilities. What seemed like children's playgrounds were actually tactical simulation environments. "That's exactly what we did," Dr. Harper realized. "Every movie we made taught us about battle tactics. Every video game trained us to pilot war machines. Every science project gave us new weapons technology. President Baker received Harper's report and nodded. The Vorthax made the same mistake they've been making for thousands of years. They assume that other species think like they do. Admiral Morrison coordinated the final phase of the defensive plan. The Vorthax had committed their entire fleet to the attack. Now it was time to show them what humanity had really been building during those 3,000 years of peace. All units, this is Admiral Morrison. Execute Operation Homecoming. It's time to end this. The Vorthax were about to learn that attacking humanity was the biggest mistake they had ever made. War Commander Thexanol stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His mighty fleet of 3,000 ships had been reduced to fewer than 800 in just 2 days. The humans had not even started their real attack yet. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving messages from across the galaxy. The other species we conquered they are rebelling against our occupation forces." Thexanol's blood turned cold. "What do you mean, rebelling?" "The humans have been in contact with them, sir. They are sharing weapons and battle plans. Our garrison fleets are under attack on 47 worlds." For the first time in his life, Thexanol felt fear. The Vorthak Empire had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years by keeping conquered species separated and weak. But somehow the humans had united them all. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Retribution and gave the order that would change galactic history forever. "All ships, begin Operation Homecoming. It's time to take the fight to them." The human fleet suddenly appeared around the confused Vorthak ships. They had been invisible, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Now thousands of human vessels surrounded the alien invaders. Captain Andy Roberts commanded the flagship UHS Thunderbolt. His ship was massive, built from technology that combined human engineering with improvements learned from the Zephyrian records. "All weapons ready, Captain," his tactical officer reported. "Fire," Roberts ordered. The Thunderbolt's main weapon was something the Vorthax had never seen before. It created a beam of pure energy that could travel through multiple dimensions at once. When it hit a Vorthak ship, the vessel simply ceased to exist. Admiral Karen Bell led the second wave of the attack. Her ships used a different approach. They fired weapons that disrupted the flow of time itself, causing Vorthak vessels to age thousands of years in seconds until they crumbled into dust. Captain Julie Parker commanded a squadron of small, fast fighters. Her pilots had trained using video games that were actually combat simulators. They flew their ships like they were playing the ultimate game, dodging Vorthak fire and striking back with precision that seemed impossible. "This is Viper Squadron," Julie reported. "We have enemy fighters engaged. They're flying the same patterns they used 3,000 years ago. This is almost too easy." On the surface of Earth, families watched the battle on television. Children pointed at the screen and cheered when human ships destroyed the aliens. The adults smiled because they knew the truth. Those children had been training for this war their entire lives without knowing it. Every video game they played taught them to pilot spacecraft. Every movie they watched showed them battle tactics. Every toy they owned was designed to prepare them for the day when humanity would need to fight for its survival. War Commander Thexanol tried to retreat, but he found his escape route blocked. Human ships had surrounded his entire fleet using a strategy so complex that his tactical computers could not understand it. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "No species has ever coordinated so many ships at once." His science officer studied the readings. "Sir, they are using their entertainment network to control their fleet. Every ship is connected to every other ship through the same system they use for their games and movies." Thexanol finally understood the horrible truth. The humans had spent 3,000 years preparing for war by disguising it as peace. Every invention, every discovery, every piece of entertainment had been designed to make them stronger. President Helen Baker appeared on screens across the galaxy. She spoke directly to every species that the Vorthax had conquered over the centuries. "People of the galaxy," she said, "today we end 10,000 years of Vorthak tyranny. Humanity offers you alliance, not conquest. Together, We will build a galaxy where no species lives in fear. On distant worlds, alien rebels received human weapons and communication equipment. Species that had been enslaved for centuries suddenly had the tools they needed to fight back. The Kalari, with their 6 arms and crystal-based technology, used human quantum weapons to destroy Vorthak orbital platforms. The Morphic, who could change their shape at will, infiltrated Vorthak bases using human stealth technology. The Zenthians, master builders and engineers, constructed defense networks, using human shield generators. Admiral Morrison coordinated the largest military operation in galactic history. Human ships worked with alien rebels on dozens of worlds, sharing technology and tactics that the Vorthaks could not counter. All units, this is Admiral Morrison. The Vorthak home fleet is retreating to their core worlds. We will not let them escape to rebuild and try this again in another 3,000 years. Captain Tony Mitchell's stealth ship had reached the Vorthak homeworld. What he found there shocked even him. The planet was defended by ancient weapons that had not been upgraded in millennia. "Lisa, are you seeing this?" he asked his tactical officer. Lisa Chang nodded. "Captain, their planetary defenses are using the same technology as their ships. They haven't improved anything." "It's like they went to sleep for 10,000 years, added Bob Turner. Meanwhile, every other species in the galaxy kept learning and growing. The final battle took place in the Vorthak home system, their ancient fortress world, which had never been attacked in its entire history, faced the combined fleets of dozens of species led by humanity. War Commander Thexnall made his final transmission to the human fleet. "You have won this battle, humans, but the Vorthak Empire has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We will not surrender," Admiral Morrison replied personally. "War Commander, your empire is finished. Your fleets are destroyed. Your conquered worlds are free. But we offer you the same choice you gave us. Surrender now and live. Fight and be destroyed." Thexnall looked around his bridge at his defeated crew. His mighty warship was surrounded by hundreds of human vessels. His empire was crumbling. His 10,000-year reign of terror was over. We surrender," he said quietly. The war was over, but the work was just beginning. Humanity had become the leader of a new galactic alliance. Captain Amy Rodriguez took command of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force, dedicated to preventing future wars and protecting smaller species. Dr. Lisa Harper led the effort to restore worlds that had been damaged by Vorthak occupation. Her archaeological work helped rebuild civilizations that had been oppressed for centuries. On Earth, President Baker signed the Galactic Peace Accord with representatives from 50 different species. But even as they celebrated, human scientists and engineers continued their work. "Ma'am," General Nick Stone said to the President, "our deep space monitors have detected signals from outside our galaxy. There might be other threats out there." President Baker smiled. "Then we'll do what humans always do, General. We'll prepare." In schools across human space, children learned about the Vorthak War. But they also learned the most important lesson of all: peace is not the time to rest. Peace is the time to prepare for whatever challenges tomorrow might bring. The galaxy was safe, but humanity never stopped watching, never stopped learning, and never stopped preparing for the next threat that might emerge from the darkness between the stars.